Thank you very much. You know, I am not an attorney, and I won't stand in the well and tell you that I understand everything about derivatives either, even having served the last 2 years on the banking committee. But what I do know is that the more you know about them, the more you have to be a little bit leery about how they're handled. They're extremely complicated, and they're dangerous financial products. Even some very sophisticated investors don't understand derivatives completely. Their values derive from the value of other assets, other instruments, other indices, and they're frequently traded over the counter in very highly leveraged transactions. At this time, really no one can make a reasonable prediction of the potential losses that institutional holders, including many public entities, face from the derivatives. And the one chart that Mr. Dingell was pointing to showed how many municipalities, how many counties across this nation, and those are just the ones that we know about, may risk some sort of danger. And some taxpayers' dollars. And I'll be offering an amendment very soon to try to deal with that. But this scantily regulated market is thought to be rife with fraud and abuse. And I will point right now to this is Fortune magazine, and we've blown this up, and it says, "Cracking the Derivatives Case, the untold story of lies, arrogance, and ignorance that cost major players billions." Now we're talking about billions of dollars, and we don't know the stories about the lies. We don't know how much arrogance and how much ignorance there is. And so the point is that now is not the time to relax the already lax controls that exist on the misconducts in the derivatives market. During the past year, private companies like Procter & Gamble, Gibson's Greetings, and public entities like Orange County, California have made headlines. Financial institutions like Barings Bank PLC have experienced sudden and dramatic losses based on derivatives trading. According to Sunday's 60 Minutes, the question is not whether there are going to be more losses, but the question really is, when will those losses be known and how much will they be? How many more billions of dollars will be lost in the derivatives market? And for that reason, I would say, just as all of the headlines that Mr. Markey had pointed to earlier, this is just not the time to relax those already lax controls. Orange County has filed a multi-billion-dollar federal securities suit already against Merrill Lynch and others. The suit will not be affected because after that news, Orange County was grandfathered in, and some other municipalities, other local governments have not been. Representative Cox determined that he wants to make this bill prospective only. Other institutions may soon find themselves in the same predicament. I yield
again, we have here Fortune magazine. This is not some populist perspective on this issue. Here's the headline in their magazine: "The risks that won't go away. Like alligators in a swamp, derivatives lurk in the global economy. Even the CEOs of the companies that use them don't understand them." We have to give the public protection. We have to ensure that they're going to be able to bring class action suits if there's a systematic pattern of trying to defraud investors in this area. Derivatives are just not as well understood as they should be, even by the people who are selling them, even by the people who are making profits from them. We have to have the protection of the Markey Amendment for all investors in this country.
Reclaiming my time and asking the gentleman a question, would you say, sir, that by everything that we know, certainly we have had much more experience in the normal securities market. We have not had that experience in understanding how to deal with derivatives and the cases of these billions of dollars. And my understanding also is this is sometimes constructed much like just going into one of the gambling casinos in Las Vegas and laying your money down and spinning the wheel.
If the gentleman would yield, I think it's a pretty big step for Fortune to take to say CEOs of the companies don't even understand them. And we're talking about the companies that are selling them as well as buying them. And I think that we should give the protection to the ordinary investor when a financial product is that complex.
I thank the gentleman from Massachusetts and support his amendment, and I will yield to the chairman of the subcommittee.
And I appreciate the gentleman yielding, and as always, I appreciate the work of the gentleman. But let me just ask, the gentleman mentioned Procter & Gamble. As I understand, Procter & Gamble is an over-the-counter derivative, which is not a security derivative and consequently would not be covered by this amendment. Is that the gentleman's understanding?
It may or may not be true, and I'm, again, not being an attorney, I don't know the intricacies.
And also, as I understand, the gentleman has mentioned Baring, and I know that's
Baring is offshore. Reclaiming my time for a moment, and I will yield to the gentleman.
Okay, yeah, the answer is that it's an over-the-counter interest rate swap, which again, the CEOs of these companies are contending would not accurately describe to them.
But if there
are many derivatives that are infinitely more complex, in fact, exotic in their nature.
Time has
I
expired.
ask that the gentleman have 3 additional minutes, or
Yes,
3 minutes.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 3 additional.
No, and I'm not trying
Continue
to
to yield to the gentleman.
And I'm certainly not trying to put the gentleman on the spot. But going back to Bearing, as I understand, is a situation involving exchange-traded derivatives, which again would not be the subject matter of this particular amendment and not the subject matter of this legislation.
Reclaiming my time from the gentleman, I appreciate what the gentleman's trying to do. My problem with this, Mr. Chairman, is the process. You raised some good questions, but you know what we are, and again with the last substitute amendment from the gentleman from California, Mr. Cox, the way we're approaching this legislation, I don't think that we have had the opportunity, given the fact that we're on this 100-day calendar, to address these things, and certainly not to the satisfaction of this member. And so I just think that when we're talking about something as volatile, something that is as dangerous and as complicated as derivatives, that I think that the gentleman's amendment from Massachusetts certainly makes a great deal of sense to say let's just take a step back in this one instance and have the adequate time to hold hearings so that we're not placing this extremely volatile portion where billions of dollars are being lost on the same train that's taking that 100-day ride. Let's take time. And I may find, the chairman, I may find after we have those hearings that I agree with the gentleman from Texas.
Gentleman yield?
Yes, I do.
Because I'm willing to make a commitment to the gentleman that we will have hearings on the subject of derivatives. It's my understanding that the report comes out this week from the Securities and Exchange Commission. I think that is a subject matter that must be addressed by our subcommittee, and we will be having hearings on that particular subject.
I appreciate the chairman's promise of that. I still support the amendment of the gentleman from Massachusetts and urge its passage.